Hello folks, a very warm welcome to another video here in the Microsoft Sim, freshly updated with Sim Update 10. The big day has arrived. The update has dropped, as the cool kids say, and I've just gone through the process of loading it in and going through the process of loading this aircraft back in. This is the PMDG 737-600, absolutely resplendent, in a livery that hasn't been seen in these parts for a long time, folks. This is the old Australian Airlines livery that was never painted onto a 737-600. It was painted onto a variety of other models. Australian Airlines, originally TAA, Trans-Australian Airlines. The only aircraft I can recall flying on in this livery was an A300. At least I think it was. And this would have been its early 90s, I think. Somewhere on the J-curve. The J-curve being Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. I might show that on a map so you'll actually get an idea about why it's called the J-curve. Somewhere between either, I reckon it would have been into or out of Sydney. That much I know, and I'm pretty sure it was an A300. But someone on this channel might tell me, mate, they never threw the A300, so couldn't be right. Apologies for the background noise, folks. The birds are in full voice, absolutely in full voice. Someone else is going to be in full voice on this flight is, well, I don't know that she's going to want to be in full voice, but she's going to be. It is my my co-conspirator, the one, the only, Jude. How are you, sweetheart?
Excuse me, that's Captain Jude to you.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Captain Jude? So, how long have you been talking? Is that a new thing?
Since you took this nonsense to another level.
Right. Okay, I feel this is going to get a bit complicated, folks. But we're going to try. We're going to push on. We're in the 737-600, as mentioned, folks. First flight in Sim Update 10. We've got a bit of a journey ahead of us. Let me show you that in Little Nav Map. And here is Little Nav Map, folks. We're going to do a coastal run here in Queensland, which is part of Australia, last time I checked, hence the Australian livery, etc. Begin our journey in the far north Queensland town of Cairns. There it is, kind of like I think they like to think it's the capital of North Queensland. Townsvillians also regard themselves as residing in the capital of far north Queensland. And yeah, it's essentially a coastal run of 2 hours or so in the 7-3, overflying or flying close to all the big cities, the towns. So out of Cairns, we're going to fly the Swift 8, I think, departure out of Cairns off runway 15, out over the reef. This is the Great Barrier Reef here, folks. And then we across the coast at about Ayr, and then across Home Hill, sort of to the west of Mackay, down through right overhead Billawheeler, to the west of Gayndah, and then we kind of there's a bit of a slight dogleg north of Kingaroy, and then we head towards the coast proper. We will fly. It's got us flying direct overhead the Brisbane VOR, and then out over Moreton Bay, Stradbroke, and then down into the Goldie. Landing on either 1-4 or 3-2 at the Goldie. We'll work that out when we get there, depending on conditions. I don't know what the weather conditions are like at the Goldie. Can we do something to that effect, Mr. Little Nav Map? We can. So that wind 310 at 7 would suggest a landing onto runway 32. And we're going to have we've got some weather there. Pretty low clouds, scattered at 8, overcast at 12 and 18. Marginal VFR, a little bit wet in this part of the world at the moment. I mentioned earlier the J curve, and again I have to apologise for the bird noise. That will continue throughout the flight, folks, but I can assure you that the volume that you hear in the final video is but a mere fraction of what I'm hearing through my ears at this point. The J curve is kind of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. If you can kind of draw a J, you have to imagine the letter J here. Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, the busiest corridor or corridors for commercial aviation, I think, here in Australia. Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and I spent a bit of time as a PAX on that corridor. And yeah, I think it was an A300 in the Australian livery. It was weird. I didn't know that any Australian Airlines flew the A300. I can remember it being a rather large aircraft. The A300 is quite a large aircraft, and I also remember it being very empty. But that's about it. My memory is struggling. Folks, that's the flight plan. Cairns to Coolangatta. I did not mention our destination, perhaps. I forgot. Cairns to the Gold Coast, or otherwise known as Cooley for the purists. 2 hours and 17 minutes. We're going to check out Sim Update 10. This is what we do after any Sim Update. I take it for a fly, see if I notice anything. En route, we might talk about some other stuff. It's been quite a big week in terms of world affairs, hasn't it? But anyway, Jude and I will get this thing started, and we'll make our way out towards a runway and we'll do some flying. Alright folks, so we're on the taxi out to runway 15 here at what looks to be quite a busy Cairns airport this morning. Beautiful weather. There is a little bit of traffic around. Do have live traffic set in the sim, running with pretty much the same settings as I had in the previous version of this sim, except for the stuff that has changed in Sim Update 10, and we might have a look at that en route, and I'll show you what I've changed. I'm running with the overlay in the top left hand corner of the screen just for the moment, for a little while. I just want to see if there's any noticeable change from Sim Update 9. So that will disappear en route. So far so good, no dramas. Did the update without any problems. Took a little while, but these things take a little while. Took quite a long time for this aircraft to load into the sim, but you expect that, all the module-y stuff which is loading in, par for the course with these birds. Yeah, look, the sim looks the same to me. Oh, I will make one comment. I lost all of my game. Actually, I'll make another comment while I'm here. Have a look at this bloke. Sim Update 10 has ruined his life. Have a look at that. Round and round we go. Oh, it sent him over the edge. I will. The comment I was going to make, as we turn the corner here, was that I lost all my NVIDIA game filters and had to reset those, which is slightly painful. I really wish you could just save them. They must be saved somewhere. I wish they could be accessible so you could just reload them instead of having to recreate them from scratch. Thankfully, the settings are on my website, so I just simply went there for reference, and so the sim looks the same to me in terms of the colours and the brightness, contrasts, sharpening, all that sort of stuff. You'll find it on the website if you're so interested, and there's a link in the description of this video. Jude, shall we do the next checklist?
Before takeoff checklist.
Thank you.
B speeds.
Yep.
Checked.
Flaps.
Flaps 5.
Briefing.
Complete.
Before takeoff checklist complete. Awaiting takeoff clearance.
Thank you. So we've got a backtrack here. We'll take the full length. That's how Jude likes it. Entering runway 15. We got any traffic? Nothing on the strip. That is an absolutely piercing sound in my ear. I tell you, I suffer from my simming some days, folks. And you probably suffer listening to it as well. I can only apologise. I'm somewhat envious of those simmers that seem to be recording their videos in a professional studio with professional gear and the marked absence of creatures and interruptions and all that sort of stuff, but that's real life. You get it raw. Jude prefers it that way as well. Jude, it's going to be one of those videos, isn't it?
You disgust me.
Sorry, Jude. Alright, runway 15, folks. Jude, can we take the takeoff clearance checklist?
Takeoff clearance received.
Thank you.
Cabin crew.
Yeah, we probably should have told them something, hey?
Advised.
Strobe lights.
Strobies aren't on, are they? Or are they? Strobe and steady, is that what it's got to be? I don't know.
On.
Landing lights.
Oh yeah, probably should have put them on as well. Oh, Jude, my apologies, love.
On.
Transponder.
Yeah, transponder's transponding.
TA. RA.
Takeoff runway.
Yeah, 15.
Confirmed.
Takeoff checklist complete. Let's roll.
Let's roll indeed, Jude. I love it. I love your attitude. Well, sometimes. Let me take a view out here. Jude, are you just along for the ride? Are you just eye candy here? Well, you're a bit more than eye candy now, aren't you? You've got a voice. You've got a personality. You've always had a personality, Jude. You've just got extra personality. That's a beautiful sight, isn't it? Runway 15 here at Cairns. Alright, so we'll just get ourselves lined up here. We've done the checklist. I think everything's good to go, Jude. What do you reckon? Should we head off?
You're not getting any younger, mate, so get on with it.
Oof. Yeah, you're not getting any nicer, love. Far out. Jesus. Do I really deserve that sort of treatment? Press the magic button. What's takeoff config? What's going on? What's going on with the takeoff?
Reject the takeoff, you idiot.
I don't know what's happening there. We're good. Actually, we better brake. Alright. Let's bring it back. What's going on? Alright. My apologies, folks. What is happening? What's happening with my throttles? What's going on with my throttles? I've got no control over my throttles. I'm moving my lever on the quadrant and it's having no effect. Can I bring them back manually? What's going on here? Because I've pressed the button, right? Because it's set toga. I've got auto throttle engaged, so can I take that off? Does that do something? There we go. Oh, folks. Jude, my apologies.
We haven't left the ground, and you've already screwed this.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't bode well, Jude. I don't know what the takeoff Can you do something here, Jude? What's wrong from your side? What was wrong with the takeoff config? I don't know what's going on. Speed brake's got nothing to do with it. What was wrong, Jude? Now we've chewed up a bit of runway. Everything else is good, wasn't it? Auto throttle, I've got to reset that. We're all good, aren't we? LNAV? Why isn't LNAV working? Why can't I arm LNAV? Okay, let's try this again. No takeoff config warning. Here we go. Folks, this is going to be a long day, isn't it? I don't know what was going on there. Probably something really obvious that a viewer, a commenter will point out. Anyway, airspeed's alive. Hopefully Jude will give us some call. Thank you, Jude. Right on cue.
V1, rotate.
A little bit late on the rotate call, Jude.
Positive rate.
A little late on that as well. Okay, thank you. Alright, we've got an early turn here, like 400 feet, which is like here. Out over the water we go. Nice tight ass turn. I am noticing something with the displays. I'll see if that continues and it's not just a temporary visual affliction that I have, and I'll come back to that. I've just got to fly a departure here, folks, at the moment.
Just shut up and fly.
Yeah, we've sort of overshot the turn a little bit. You can probably go flaps up here. We've got an intercept point out here over the water. We'll get Georgie to do some flying once we get back on the magenta, which is kind of there. VNAV wants us to fly at 204 knots. LNAV is now active. We might go autopilot, get Georgie to do some flying here. Increase that. Should I say reduce the zoom. Increase the range. Take an outside shot for you. Beautiful Cairns, Queensland, Australia, folks. There she is. So yeah, this departure takes you out over the water as you climb to avoid them bar hills, and we'll be making a right turn out over the reef and heading across the coast at about air. Folks, I'll see you en route, and we'll have a chat about Sim Update 10 and perhaps other things as well. The Great Barrier Reef, folks, from about flight levels 300, something like that. That's what it looks like if you were sitting just ahead of the number one engine. Beautiful, isn't it, hey? Lovely day in this part of the world. Lovely part of the world. Queensland, Australia. Look at that. Beautifully represented in the sim. Never seen it better represented in the sim than here in the Microsoft one. Have a look at that. Hey? It's impressive. So, performance-wise, so far, no noticeable change. For me, it's Sim Update 9-ish. Just let me turn on. It's not quite what I wanted to do. Right, so that overlay on the top right-hand side, left-hand side even, and I might, in post-production, geez, don't I sound fancy? In post-production, I might, at this point, be zooming into that overlay. I don't think I can make it any bigger natively, but anyway. So I've got my sim, I run it with a fixed FPS of 30 to keep the temps down, and because I can't really notice much of a difference above 30. I know there are people that swear that they can notice and they go for maximum FPS. I go for smoothness and reliability and an experience that is predictable. That's what I go for. So I'm getting, I've been maintaining 30 FPS pretty much from the get-go. I think it did drop to 29 or 28 there just prior to takeoff, I think. I noticed it. The memory, is about where it normally is, at between 6 to 8 on the old VRAM. CPU temps about where this normally is, it's in the 50s, and GPU temps is in the 60s. Which is where it normally is as well. So there's no noticeable change there. I didn't change too much in the actual sim settings. So I'm not really expecting any improvement or degraded performance at all. I'll leave that for other simmers to compare, do direct comparisons between Sim Update 9 and Sim Update 10. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. And you can do your own sort of analysis. Apply your own level of rigour, whatever you need to do. But for me, performance is on par with Sim Update 9, and I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, folks, we continue the climb and our flight down towards the Gold Coast. Earlier in the flight, I made brief mention of something that I noticed on the displays. I don't quite know how to explain this. I'm going to try. If you've got the PMDG 737, perhaps you too will notice this. But what I'm seeing is what I would term a lag. I'm seeing is artifacts the right term in this context? I don't know. But it's not as smooth. Like you would see a crisp change as the numbers change. Like there's actually a noticeable. I don't know how to actually put this into words. So if I change the heading bug, so I'm paying attention down here, looking at the heading bug down here, I'll change it. There's a bit of a, I don't know if it'll come through on the video, but there's kind of the movement of the bug is actually leaving a little artifact behind. It's slightly laggy, is how I would describe it. I don't know how else to say it. And I don't know whether that's got to do with something that I've set. I didn't notice that in the previous Sim Update 9. But there's a little... I'll keep coming back to this word artifact. Jude, is artifact the correct term?
You're talking nonsense. Just stop.
Oh, alright. Oh, Jude, I'm trying, eh? Jeez, give a bloke a break. I'm old, Jude. I'm not young and hip like you are. You know, my brain doesn't work as well as yours does, so give an old fella a break, eh? Bloody hell, folks. What about suffering from a simming? Oh, Jude, what's up with you? Should we have that conversation here in public? Because I feel like, you know, I don't know how many videos you've been a part of, but it's just been attitude the whole way. And I don't know what I've ever done wrong to you. Is now the time to have that conversation?
Don't start a fight you can't finish, mate.
Okay then. Bloody hell. Anyway, folks, I don't know whether I'll keep this segment in the video. I don't know if it actually has much of a... Does it have much of a point? I don't know. Just we're pushing these engines pretty hard, aren't we? Past 100%. It's been a slow climb to 370. We've got a decent old breeze out of the west, out of the southwest. There's the coastline. We're about to cross the coast. Take a shot outside for you. Here we go. We'll call that coast crossed, folks. I'll see you again sometime later in the flight, folks. We'll have a look at what Sim Update 10 actually brought to our simulator. Perhaps have a look at the setting that I know that I changed, and perhaps that has had an impact on the displays. I don't know. And maybe talk about recent world events, just because we can, and this is a 2-hour flight. I'll see you again shortly. Alright, so what you're looking at the moment, what I am also looking at, is the official release notes for Sim Update 10. So Sim version 1.27.21.0. Now what I was going to do was sort of scroll through and point out what stood out to me, but this is an absolutely mammoth update. Have a look at it. Now those of you that have been involved in the beta program, and those of you that pay more attention to these things than I, will know that this is a massive update. This is the first time I've seen what this, or that I can remember seeing, what this update has actually brought. It is massive. I just keep coming back to that word. So the G1000 NXI is now the default G1000. It's a fantastic bit of kit, and I must fire up an aircraft that uses it and do a video. It's, yeah, so they've improved that and fixed some stuff. Fantastic. The guys from Working Title are responsible for that. And there's been some changes made to the default stock aircraft. Yeah, how many people fly the default stock aircraft on a regular basis without mods? I tend to fly all of them with mods. I know there's only a handful that I do fly. Anyway, look, it's just a huge amount of change. Have a look at it. It just keeps going. Absolutely endless. Extraordinarily, that was a difficult word to say. Well, it didn't start out difficult, but I absolutely botched that. An extraordinarily big update. Yeah, absolutely blown away by that, by the size of it, the scale of it. What I'll do next, I think, is show you and show myself for future reference when something goes wrong. The settings that I changed, that I noticed were different in this sim update, and that I changed not really understanding what the impacts were going to be. I actually don't notice much of an impact at all, but I'll show you what those changes are. So obviously I had to pause the sim to show you this, the general options, and all of my settings, at least my settings from the previous sim version, are on the website. I'll have to update them to reflect these new options. This anti-aliasing, so DLSS, look, I don't understand. There's a description on the right hand side that might help. Uses AI super resolution to provide the highest possible frame rates at maximum graphics settings, and DLSS requires an NVIDIA RTX graphics card, which I have, I know that, but I don't know anything beyond that description, and even that description I'm struggling to understand. So I've switched that. You can move between, so it used to be TAA, which then had a render scaling, so I'm using a height and resolution. There's something else on the NVIDIA control panel that I've got set. So my resolution here in the sim, it sort of upscales or downscales, or there's some sort of scaling shit that's happening, folks. Anyway, it used to be TAA. I've gone for DLSS, and then the mode I've gone for is quality. Oh, ultra performance. I thought quality was the highest. Performance, balanced, quality, and ultra performance. Well, I've gone for quality. AMD Fidelity FX sharpening is 100. Okay, is that only applicable to AMD cards? I would expect, but does it do something? I don't know. VSync is off. Everything else is the same. Although frame rate limit, this 33% monitor refresh rate, VSync, what? Frame rate limit. Well, I've got that set over in the NVIDIA control panel, and VSync is on, but it's over in the control panel. And I'm running DX11, or DirectX 11, is the default API. Other people are talking about DX12, but there's some issues, or there's a graphics, what do you call it, a driver update required. Just going to discard that and go back to stuff. Yeah, so I haven't, I'm just going to run with DX11 because I don't understand. I'm showing my technical ignorance here, folks. Jude, how are you? Are you enjoying this flight at all?
Yeah, the bits where you don't talk.
Oh, okay. Appreciate your honesty. So I'll just be quiet for a while then, hey? Shall I? Folks, I might with that with that feedback from Jude, I might how about I just join you for the approach? Hey? We'll see you for that. Hello again, folks. Just about 20 miles shy of our top of descent at this time, so we are getting closer to our destination, to ending the pain, depending on one's perspective. I've been chasing this bird down most of the way. Well, he sort of joined me south of Townsville. This is a live traffic aircraft, version 366, flying from Townsville to Brisbane. He's down to 13,000 at the moment. I'm still at 370. So he started his descent a little ahead of mine. He's going to land in Brisbane, so yeah, that kind of makes sense. I've got a slightly longer track, which is going to take us out over Moreton Bay and then down Stradbroke. Jumping pin overhead. Those of you that are local will know that jumping pin, the gap between North and South Stradbroke Islands, and then out over the water. And I've manufactured an approach. We are expecting to have pretty ordinary conditions. Yeah, marginal VFR. It's been alternating between IFR and marginal VFR. The wind is a northwesterly, light 1,320 at 5 knots. We do have rain, visibility down to 5, scattered at 1,200. So yeah, we should get visual with the runway before we hit it. But you never know in my videos. That's part of the fun, isn't it? Anyway, folks, about to begin our descent. I'll join you for the final stages of the approach into the Gold Coast. Alright, so concluding stages of the flight, folks, down through 5. The field is kind of at our 3 o'clock, becoming a 4 o'clock position over there through the muck. We are right in the thick of the cloud here. I'm expecting to become visual around about 1500 feet AGL, something like this. Manufactured approach. I don't know what's going on here on the ND. What's this? What's this arc line here? I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of hoping that Georgie will actually turn us towards a waypoint called Terra. Would that be Terra Nora locals? Would that waypoint correspond with Terra Nora Lakes, that sort of area there? I'm guessing that it does. The pretend ATC has slowed us to 200 knots. That's what we're doing at the moment. And we've got Georgie down to 3,000. Actually, I'll probably go lower than that. Georgie, you can take us to, I reckon, 2,000, champ. You see that artifacty stuff? Can you notice that? As this speed tape changes, you see it? It's blurry. Artifacty is the word that I'm using. Anyway, Jude, can we have the approach checklist, thanks?
Approach checklist.
Thank you.
Briefing.
Yeah, consider yourself briefed. Jude, I'll debrief you later.
Completed.
Pack signs.
Pack signs, that should be on, hey?
On.
Barrow ref.
Barrow ref is 1015, set.
Set.
Speed brake.
Is armed, thanks, Jude.
Armed.
Approach checks complete. Landing checks next.
Thanks, Jude. So we can take, well, we can take flaps 10 momentarily. We're probably going to need to descend here, something chronic. In fact, yeah, this is going to get away from us really quickly. So we'll go, take all the automatics off, and we're going to slow up here. Yeah, we don't need to be sending at 2,700 feet a minute though. We're all good. Although we're going to be super high, aren't we? Yeah, we've cut that corner way too sharp. We're going to take flaps 10 and gear. I'm going to need to zoom in a tad here. Righto. So yeah, because we've cut that corner way too much. I reckon we're going to need some speed brake. Thank you. And we're going to need to descend something chronic here. We've got the boots out. We can go flaps 15 at this point as well. But we're going to bust through that flap extension speed if we're not careful. Alright, so this is getting sporty, folks. Unintentionally. And it's raining. As well, there's 170 knots. We can take flaps 25 at this point. 2.5 miles till we hit the deck. At 2,000 feet. We're in trouble. This is feeling like a go around. We're in heavy rain. Our VREF is down in the 130s. And we're 2.5 miles till touchdown at 1,500 feet. I'm going to take flaps 30. We're in strife here. Jude, have faith. Someone needs to on this flight deck.
We're going to die.
Oh, we're in all sorts of trouble here. 150 knots, 1,000 feet. Yeah, landing checklist, thank you.
Engine start switches.
Yep, they're good. Very, very late landing checklist.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Yeah, sync rate, absolutely. We're in all sorts of trouble here, folks. Major stutter there, did you feel that? Folks, we're coming in hot.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Still doing the checklist as we flare. We'll get it on, folks. Get the reverses out, we're going heavy on the brakes.
100 knots.
I enjoy myself, folks. That's all that matters. We got any more of the checklist to do, Jude?
Flaps 5.
Landing checklist complete.
There we go. We got it done before we departed the active. Oh, folks! I can only apologise to those of you that were looking for something serious and you've stumbled across this channel, because that's the only way that you'd be here. You'd be stumbling. Not too many people coming here of their own volition for serious content. Flaps coming up. We'll take an after landing flow. Thanks, Jude.
After landing checklist.
Thank you.
Flaps.
Oh, flaps are coming up.
Up.
Auto brakes.
Auto brake is off.
Off.
Speed brake.
Speed brakes retracted.
Retracted.
Taxi light.
Oh yeah, we should probably put the lights on. She's a bit dismal out there.
On.
Landing lights.
Landing lights are off. You've already turned them off, I think.
Off.
APU.
Oh yeah, we should whack the APU on as well.
Start.
After landing checklist complete.
Oh, we made it, folks. That's how not to fly the 737-600. When PMD were building this bird, they never had that in mind. Although I tell you what, it's an amazing aircraft. Yeah, I give full credit to the aircraft for us successfully touching down there, because I did everything humanly possible to screw that royally. And yeah, we still, the passengers were none the wiser. Hey? Anyway, folks, that's been my, what do you call it? Well, my style of video looking at Sim Update number 10. Yeah, we covered some ground during the course of that flight. Thank you for your company. I hope that your experience with Sim Update 10 is a positive one. The birds have finally caught on to the fact that was absolutely abysmal, and they're giving it to me really loudly. So on that note, folks, thank you for your company in another video. Stay well, enjoy your simming, and we'll see you next time. And Jude, thank you as always.
Piss off.